Hi, everybody. I'm Jean Chatsky. Welcome to Your Money Map. Glad to see everybody at our program sponsored by the Alliance for Lifetime Income. Today, we are going to be talking about a topic that I know is near and dear and confusing to many of you. We are going to be talking about Social Security. As always, I appreciate you participating in our discussion. We welcome your comments. We welcome your questions. But let me just kick it off with a statistic or two. And I gathered these from the Nationwide Retirement Survey. A quarter of retirees surveyed said that their Social Security payments were less than what they had expected. 50% of future retirees said that they were eligible for benefits sooner than they actually were. Many future retirees also don't expect to collect benefits until they reach 66, which is, by the way, the full retirement age for anyone who was born between 1943 and 1954. But in reality, 2 out of 5, more than 40% of men and women start collecting their benefits at age 62. That's the earliest age at which you can collect benefits, but the payments are about 25% less than at full retirement age. So what's the right thing to do? How do you go about making this decision that is, quite frankly, one of the most, if not the most important decisions of your entire financial life? My guest today is here to help me with this. Elaine Floyd is the Director of Retirement and Life Planning for Horse's Mouth, which is a firm with maybe the best name in the financial services industry that I've ever heard. They are a New York-based company that provides training and resources to financial advisors. She's an expert on Social Security claiming strategies, and today she's going to share her insights on how we can make this very important decision and maximize this important resource. Hi, Elaine. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. So happy to be here.
Well, thank you for coming along for the ride. Let me just start by asking you how you became an expert on Social Security. I understand that you've been in this world for over 20 years.
Yeah, so I was a financial advisor in the 1980s. And at that time, the only thing we had to say about Social Security to our clients was, don't count on it. It's probably not going to be there. It's not going to be enough. Don't even think about it. But the more I studied it and the more I thought about it, I thought, we are all paying our Social Security taxes. And this is a promise that the government has made to us. If we pay our taxes, we will be entitled to benefits when we retire. So I started studying the system because I wanted to know three things. I wanted to know, number one, how is that benefit calculated? How do they actually figure out how much you get when you retire? Number two, when I go to claim my benefit, how will I know it's right? And number three, is there anything I can do? At the time I started studying the system, I was like in my early 40s. Is there anything I can do between now and then to improve my benefit? So that's what drove my interest in learning about this program. And I did indeed learn all of those things. And in 2008, so after I was a financial advisor, I was a financial writer for a number of years. And I wrote many articles and books and things on Social Security. I joined Horse's Mouth in 2008. And we came out with this program, training program for financial advisors, because I had learned in that time that there was a lot about Social Security that financial advisors didn't know. And so we came out with this training program. The year was 2008. It happened to be the year I turned 62. And so that was the perfect time for me to really dive into the formula and learn how this benefit is calculated. So I started my own Excel file. My own file using the formula that the Social Security people use to figure out your benefit. I updated it every year with the cost of living adjustment. I updated it every year with my earnings. I knew not to claim my benefit until age 70 because I had learned enough by then to know that that would give me my maximum benefit. And so when I claimed my benefit at 70, it exactly matched the number that I had come out with in the Excel file. So
Wow.
that just gave me great confidence in the system that it works the way it's supposed to work. So I like to say that I am the poster child for maximizing Social Security because, number one, well, without going into my whole marital history, I was married and divorced and my ex-husband died. So I was able to collect a survivor benefit, a divorced spouse survivor benefit. So that was number one. Number two, I claimed at 70 to get the maximum. And number three, I'm still working. I had stayed home with my kids for a number of years. So I had a number of zeros on my work record, and I'm still working and bumping up my benefit every year. So
Wow.
I feel like poster child. So take it from me.
Well, so you said a couple of interesting things in that explanation that I want to dive into. But the first is that you knew to claim at 70 because you understood how the formulas work. Many people don't understand how the formulas work. So can you take a step back for us and just explain the basics? How is somebody's Social Security benefit calculated?
So it's based on your highest 35 years of earnings. And this is why we also like to talk to even younger people. You know, so I started at 40 understanding this. So everybody all throughout their adult life needs to understand that their Social Security benefit is going to be based on the earnings that they have earned over their career. And so people who take time out of the workforce, people who stay home with their kids, or they go on sabbaticals, or maybe they take low earning jobs. I mean, those are all life decisions, and sometimes, you know, they may be justified for a lot of reasons, but people need to understand that it will affect their Social Security benefit when they go to retire. So it's highest 35 years of earnings. Then they apply a formula to this. And that's too complicated to go into right here. But and then you come out with what's called your primary insurance amount. This is calculated for everybody when they turn 62. It's officially calculated at age 62. Okay, but if you claim, that's the amount that you get at full retirement age, if you claim at full retirement age. So when people look at their statement that they get from Social Security, and the way to get your statement, by the way, is to go to ssa.gov, click on open an account, open my account, and everybody should open an account. It allows you to check your earnings record, and then you can download your statement, and it'll show you what your benefit will be if you take it at 62 or at full retirement age or at age 70. And you'll see that the amounts differ, and they have been determined by actuaries, so the effect upon the system is the same. Social Security doesn't care whether you take your benefit at 62 or at 70. But you care, or you should care, because it's going to make a difference in your lifetime income. And this is the one of the big revelations that people get when they start looking at Social Security. When you look at your statement, you see just a few $100s difference between claiming at 62 or full retirement age or 70. It's like, well, I might as well take it now. It's not that money, might as well take it. What they don't understand is when you run that over a lifetime, and especially if you come from a long-lived family, it makes a huge difference in your lifetime benefits. And so we created calculators that do exactly that. You put in the claiming age, and it shows you how much you will receive in benefits over your lifetime. And the difference can be dramatic. And usually when we show people these calculator illustrations, we don't have to twist their arm to claim at 70. They just go, oh yeah, makes sense.
Except that I, at the top of this show, cited this piece of research that said 40% of people claim at 62.
Yeah.
So where's the disconnect?
I think, again, people just don't, they have a hard time translating that monthly amount into what it means in terms of lifetime income. And they just take it at 62. Now, there are a few reasons to take it early. Usually not, though, and I do want to emphasize there are a few cases where it's absolutely important for a person to claim at 70, and that is if you are married and you are the higher earning spouse. That person should definitely claim at 70, because when that higher earning spouse dies, that benefit will transfer over to the other spouse. Or if that spouse lives longer, that benefit will be preserved. Either way, the higher earning spouse's benefit will be preserved. So you want to maximize that benefit by taking it at 70.
When you said you've written books on Social Security, I mean, that just gets to the fact that this is really complicated. And what makes it complicated are these marital scenarios, right?
Yep.
If we were all single people,
Yep.
it would be pretty easy to figure out what your benefit's going to look like. But when you throw in a spouse, when you throw in wage differences between a spouse, a higher earning spouse and a lower earning spouse, when you throw in age differences between a spouse, it gets complicated. I asked you, and I'm a little bit nervous about doing this, but we're going to do it. I asked you if you could pull an example for me.
Yeah.
And you actually did run one of your calculations, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but I would really love to show people the differences in the numbers because they are staggering, as you said. So Becca is producing for us today. Becca, if you could just bring that up on the screen so that Elaine could explain it.
I hope I can see it. Oh, I can't. I do have it on my iPad though, but let me just walk you through it. So what we have here is a typical example. Bob and Betty, they're both 62 now. Bob's PIA, primary insurance amount, and that means the amount that he will receive if he claims his benefit at his full retirement age. So we use that term PIA a lot, and that's what that means. That's what he gets at full retirement age. So his PIA is $3,000 a month. Betty's PIA is $1,100 a month. This is very typical for a baby boomer couple.
Okay.
The wife stayed home with the kids a number of years. That was my situation. We see it very, very frequently in our business. So that's what I ran here. $3,000 for him, $1,100 for her. We put in life expectancies. Average life expectancy for Bob is 84. Betty's is slightly longer than average at 91. And so the calculator came up with, and we have a cost of living adjustment of 2%. So the calculator came up with 4 different scenarios, 4 different claiming scenarios. One is where they both claim now, early at 62. The second one is where they both claim at full retirement age. The third is where they both claim at 70.
Becca, if you could roll that a little.
Yeah, roll that. The fourth is where Betty claims early at 62 and Bob claims later at 70. This is a very popular strategy for married couples where the lower earner claims early and the higher earner claims at 70. And the fifth, which is the maximum benefit, and the calculator figures this out. It ran through 18,000 scenarios in under 2 seconds. And it came up with a maximum benefit of her starting at her full retirement age. He starts at 70. Now, in all of these cases, and I don't know if you can see this here, but in all of these cases, Bob is going to die before Betty. And so when he dies, she's going to step into his higher benefit. And so we have a graph. If it's possible to scroll down, maybe it's not.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it is. But why don't we'll take that off the screen?
Yeah.
So essentially, this looks at the differences. This software looks at 1,800 different scenarios, 1,800 different possibilities. 18,000.
Yes, because each month is a different month, and I mean, that sort of exaggerates what the realism of it. But yeah, 18,000. But let me just say here that the maximum benefit would return over the couple's lifetime $1.8 million. And this alone is staggering for people. They look at their benefit, what, $3,000 a month, 1.8 million I'm going to get out of Social Security over my lifetime. I mean, they don't even have that much in their 401k, This is a bigger asset than most people realize.
Before we leave that example though, can you tell me the comparison? So if they do it right, they wait until he's 70 to claim, and then she switches over to his benefit at his death. They get 1.8 million. What would they have gotten if he had claimed at 62?
So if he'd claimed at 62, the lifetime benefit for everything would have been 1.4 million versus 1.8. But the bigger thing is, gosh, maybe I could show this, is the survivor benefit. And that's, so the difference in Betty's lifetime income, or no, I should say her income in the first year after Bob dies would be $40,000 for that year if he claimed at 62 versus 71,000 if he had claimed at 70. So
That's
this
huge.
is huge.
So when people are approaching this decision, what do you think is the best way to go about making it? I mean, 18,000 different scenarios. I can't even wrap my brain around that.
Yeah.
How do you think couples should go through the process? Singles should go through the process. Anyone should go through the process of figuring out, I have these assets over here. I have these assets over here. How do I factor Social Security into this picture?
Yeah, well, we have found that baby boomers tend to start the whole retirement income planning process with Social Security because that is like a semi-known quantity, right? It's like, okay, how much am I going to get from Social Security, and figure that out first, and then I'll, layer in the other sources of income. So that's why we start with Social Security, we maximize that source of income, and then we build the other things around it. Now, with such clear evidence that claiming at 70 is the optimal thing to do, it actually is causing people to rethink their retirement dates. People are starting to work a little bit longer. Well, I might as well work if I'm not going to start my Social Security until 70. Other people, maybe they've accumulated a lot of assets and they have plenty to draw from before they turn 70. We call it like a bridge to Social Security. Developing that source of bridge income from whatever the retirement date is until age 70. And by the way, I should mention that the primary insurance amount that you see on your statement presumes continued earnings until claiming age. So that amount that you're going to get at full retirement age assumes you're going to keep working until full retirement age. If you retire early at 60 or 58 or 55 or whatever, that number is going to be overstated because your earnings are not going to be there those last several years. And so what you can do is you can go to the Social Security website and run the retirement estimator, and that allows you to put in, an early retirement date and like zero earnings going forward if that's what you want to put in, and get a revised estimate.
For anybody who has Social Security questions, I am talking to Elaine Floyd. She is a font of information. So please, I see that Jim is with us and Natalie. Muhammad is with us. We've got a number of people in the audience. If you'd like to ask Natalie, if you'd like to ask Elaine any of your questions, she is happy to answer them. Elaine, you mentioned survivor benefits. I also know there are benefits for divorced spouses and spousal benefits. Can you break down these ancillary benefits for us and explain how they work?
Yes, there are a lot of rules associated with them. So I'm going to cover the highlights. I can't really go into detail because the tricky part about these auxiliary benefits is that they often coordinate with your own benefit. Let me give you an example. This question just came in this morning. This is the perfect example. The woman is 59 years old. She was widowed. Her ex-husband was a fairly high or former husband, deceased husband, fairly high earner. His primary insurance amount was $2,500 a month. Hers was $1,300. So she's 59. If she were to claim at her full retirement age of 67, she would get $1,300. She's thinking about remarrying, and thank goodness she came to her financial advisor and said, should I remarry, or can I remarry, or what would happen if I remarry? Well, there is a rule that if you remarry before age 60, you cannot get a survivor benefit based on your previous husband's work record. She's 59, she's like right bumping up against 60, and so the advice to her is do not have a long engagement. Wait until age to remarry. And that way, because her new partner, the one that she's thinking about marrying, is 5 years younger, and his PIA is $1,700. So of all the benefits available to her, that $2,500 survivor benefit is the highest. And that's the one that she should maximize. And she maximizes it by marrying after age 60 and then claiming that benefit at her full retirement age. And then she can take her own benefit at 62 and then switch over to the survivor benefit at full retirement age.
There's a lot of confusion about people who are divorced. How long do you have to be married in order to claim on a former spouse's record? And is there any rule about the length of time that is there a waiting period, or if you're divorced for a certain amount of years, it no longer counts?
So great questions. So the marriage had to have lasted at least 10 years. You must be unmarried at the time that you claim the benefit. Now, this is for divorced spouse benefits. This is where the ex is still alive, okay? Well, I'll talk about survivor in a minute, but the ex is still alive. You were married more than 10 years. You are now 62 or older. You can claim a divorced spouse benefit off of your former spouse's record. Now, if he has already claimed his benefit, then fine, you can go ahead. If he hasn't claimed his benefit yet, he must be at least 62, or there had to have been 2 years since the divorce. So those are kind of the rules that people learn and then they forget. But that's why we have our Q&A forum, because people come back with questions. But so that's rules for divorced spouse benefits. Then there's divorced spouse survivor benefits, where the ex is deceased, and in that case, I should have mentioned that on the divorced spouse benefit, you get 50% of the ex's PIA, okay? If it's higher than your own. Now, if your own benefit is higher than that, you won't get one. You won't get a divorced spouse benefit. But the survivor benefits are different, because there you get 100% of the ex's PIA, of the deceased ex's PIA, and you either need to be unmarried or remarried after age 60
in order to take advantage
of that. So that's why we say anybody in their late 50s who has been divorced, who's thinking of remarrying, even if the ex is still alive, he could die. And you want to preserve that survivor benefit. So just plan a long engagement and remarry after age 60. And just one other thing on this, make sure that you keep tabs on your exes, because we run into people who had these marriages long ago, thought the ex was forever out of their life, and then the ex dies and somehow they learn of it and they are able to claim that survivor benefit. If you don't ever learn of your ex's death, you don't know to claim that survivor benefit. So,
I actually answered a question in AARP magazine, where I write a column on that very issue, and she had just learned that her ex had passed away and was able to claim his benefit, which was significantly higher than hers, which turned out to be very, very beneficial. Sharnita is asking, how do you feel about leveling Social Security benefits? I have to admit, I don't know what she means.
I don't either.
Okay, Sharnita, if you'd like to explain in the chat, then we will come back to that question. Elaine, Social Security is an annuity. And I'm wondering if there is an understanding in the landscape of personal finance and financial products of this fact, and that it is a form of lifetime income similar to other annuities.
Right. It is. Social Security is an annuity. And for people who love their lifetime income and want more of it, they can buy an annuity. And people have different ideas about annuities. People may have heard different things about annuities. And in the olden days, and when I say olden, is maybe 20, 30 years ago, they were loaded with fees. There were some problems with some of those annuity products. But not anymore. It's possible now to find. I have to say that Social Security is still the best annuity that you can get, because it's inflation adjusted, and it's backed by the government. Whereas commercial annuities that you buy tend to not be inflation adjusted. If they are, you pay.
You pay for that.
More. Yeah. And they're backed by insurance company, which is almost probably as good as backed by the government. But the point is, if you love your Social Security and you love that guaranteed or protected, shall we say, lifetime income, and if you want to have, if you know what your expenses in retirement are going to be, and you want to make sure that those expenses get covered, the rent and the mortgage and all of your expenses, then, layer an annuity on top of your Social Security, and then maybe you'll still have your 401k or IRA or other things that you can draw from for, your discretionary expenses.
Natalie is asking, will Social Security ever run out? I know that's a very popular question.
That's a very popular question. So here's sort of the quick and dirty explanation. Right now, there is $2.9 trillion in the Social Security Trust Fund. Now, the trust fund was never designed to get very big. It was designed to sort of hold the tax money that comes in before it needs to get paid out to the retirees. Well, baby boomers have been kind of front loading that trust fund. We've been in our peak earning years, and we've been, the trust fund has collected far more in taxes than has been needed to pay out. Now, this is starting to reverse, okay? Actually, this year or next year, it's going to start paying out more than it takes in, and it's going to start drawing down that trust fund. So the prediction is that the trust fund will run dry. The last trustees report said 2034. That didn't take COVID into account. Other estimates have been as early as 2031. But that's when the trust fund goes to zero. At that time, there will still be tax money coming in. And so it's not like benefits will go to zero. It just means that if Social Security is not reformed, then everybody's benefit is going to drop by about 20 to 25%. We don't think Congress is going to let that happen. We think Congress is going to act long before that ever happens, although maybe not long before, because a lot of people don't know that the Social Security system was in danger of running out of money in 1983. It was within months of not being able to pay benefits. And Congress acted just like that. They passed some rules and shored up the system, and so they did what they needed to do. So
if you are afraid that it will get to that point where they can't pay all of their obligations, what's the solution from a financial planning perspective?
So I guess I would just have to say that if you're worried that Social Security won't be there for you or that it will be drastically reduced, then you're on your own. You need to save on your own, work and save and invest, and basically create your own retirement fund. It sounds harsh, but that's kind of the only way. We've sort of come to take for granted this government promise of Social Security. And if it were taken away, oh my gosh, I mean, can you even imagine? Just imagine.
I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there. And I think the fact that we pay into this system is a good indication. And what happened in 1983, that they will work it out. I'm with you. I'm a believer that they will work it out. Some additional questions have come in. Sharnita explained to us what she meant by leveling your benefits. She means, what's your opinion of taking your benefits before your official retirement age?
Well, yeah, I'm not a fan. I believe that Social Security is such a good resource because it is lifetime, it's inflation adjusted income, it's the best kind of income that you can get compared to almost anything else out there. And so I just believe strongly in maximizing that resource, and by taking the benefit at age 70. Now, if you're a lower earning spouse and you're going to be claiming a spousal benefit, that benefit maxes out at 50% of your spouse's primary insurance amount. So spousal benefits don't earn delayed credits. So that one maxes out. So in those cases, I would say go ahead and take it, or, at full retirement age, or, in like one of the scenarios we looked at that you couldn't see on the screen, where she took it at 62 and he took it at 70. That's okay. They're giving up a little bit, not a lot. But if you are single, or certainly if you are the higher earner in a couple, don't take it early.
Well, and the discrepancy is big. I mean, you're throwing out the large numbers, but essentially you're talking about an 8% bump in benefits for every year that you wait from 62 to 70, guaranteed, right? That's a return that's very, very difficult to beat. It's a guaranteed return that I think is near impossible to beat. So there's that. Nancy would like to know, what happens if I move back to Canada for retirement? Do I have to live in the US to collect?
You do not. This question comes in a lot, and you can live almost anywhere in the world. There are certain places where they won't send the money. I think North Korea is one of them, and Cuba. It's on the website, but you can move outside the United States and receive your Social Security, no problem.
Mary Jane would like to know, what's the best way to get a level on your Social Security? She says, I haven't received anything from them for years, and with all of the confusion, I haven't chased them down. Thank you.
So, has she opened a Social Security account?
No idea. Let's assume she has not.
Okay, so that's where it starts. ssa.gov/my account, or just go to ssa.gov and it'll be big button there, open an account. And you go on there and you open it, and you answer a few questions and you're in. You set a password and that's your account. And everybody should do this. Everybody should open their account. You can check your earnings record and you can download your statement, because they have created statements for everyone. When I say statements, I mean it's that 4-page statement that shows how much, it shows all your earnings since you started working. It shows the amount of your benefit if you claim at the different ages. There's a ton of information on there. So definitely start by opening an account.
Okay, she says she has opened an account. I'm actually thinking it's been a very long time since I received a statement in the mail. Are they no longer sending them? Is it now on you to go online and pull it?
Yes. Only people over 60 who have not opened an account are getting statements in the mail. So.
Okay. That's good to know. I'm wondering about spousal benefits. Is it still possible to get a spousal benefit and let your own benefit grow?
Oh gosh, this is such a common question. People hear about this strategy and it sounds too good to be true, and really now it is. It didn't used to be. It used to be a very savvy strategy where you could claim take 50%, and it's something I did actually. When I turned 66, which was my full retirement age, I filed for my divorced spouse benefit. My ex was still alive at the time. I started receiving 50% of his primary insurance amount. I was getting around $1,100 and did not touch my own benefit. Okay. It so happened he died a year later. Sadly for him, my benefit jumped, it doubled because it turned into a survivor benefit. Again, I'm still letting my benefit grow, and then I got the maximum at 70. Now, the Congress changed the rules in 2015, and they grandfathered in certain people who were actually, maybe counting on doing that strategy. So anyone born in 1953 or earlier can still do this, and it's a fabulous strategy if you're entitled to do it. You can, as long as your spouse has filed for his or her benefit, you can go in and file a restricted application, collect a spousal benefit for a few years until you turn 70. Now, most people, though, who are asking this question were born after 1953, and they are not eligible to do this strategy. It only applies, though, to spousal benefits, not survivor benefits. So if your ex is deceased, you can claim that survivor benefit and let your own benefit grow. These are the kinds of things that I teach all day long to our financial advisors that they are informing their clients about. And it's one of the reasons that it's important, I think, for people to see a financial advisor, especially if their situation is at all complex. And if they have any sort of, marital things going on, divorces and deaths and things like that going on in their history, which, baby boomers are famous for our multiple marriages. And it does make Social Security much more interesting, much more complicated.
It's also important, I think, for the financial advisor to talk to their clients about Social Security. I mean, I have a financial advisor who has had that conversation with me, but this research that I was talking about earlier from the Nationwide Retirement Institute found that of the respondents who work with financial advisors, only 13% received advice about Social Security. And of those who were counseled on Social Security, 40% of the clients had initiated that conversation. Shouldn't advisors be teeing this up?
Yes. This is what we do. And this is why when we came out with our program in 2009, see, financial advisors are typically historically not paid to counsel people on Social Security. They charge fees, they may charge commissions. There are different ways that financial advisors get paid. And usually counseling on Social Security they don't get direct compensation for that. Now, advisors realize, though, that Social Security is a hugely important part of people's retirement income. And so the savvy advisors, the ones who are really professional and really want to help their clients, do learn about it. And they bring that knowledge to the advisory relationship, and they will initiate the conversations. So, granted, I'm biased, but I'm biased because I used to be a financial advisor. I know a lot of financial advisors. I know that a lot of them are not bringing this knowledge and advice to their clients, and they need to.
A couple of additional questions. Christy wants to know, what is full retirement age?
Full retirement age, it's shown on your statement. And full retirement age for any, as you mentioned earlier, if you're born between 1943 and 54, your full retirement age is 66. And then it gradually goes up to 66 and 2 months, 66 and 4 months. And then anyone born in 1960 or later, full retirement age is 67. Now, what's the significance of full retirement age? That is a good question. And there are a number of different rules relating to full retirement age. For example, there is the earnings test. If you are collecting Social Security before your full retirement age, which is 66 or 67 or somewhere in between, and you work, then they're going to withhold some of your benefits. They're going to say, well, you're not really retired, so we're going to take some of those benefits back. They don't capture them completely. They do. When you turn full retirement age, then they recalculate your benefits. So you essentially get that money back over time. So it's not to discourage people from working, for sure. If you're under full retirement age and you want to work, you should work. We do discourage people from claiming Social Security, though, before full retirement age if they're going to work. That earnings test is a huge hassle. They're going to ask you to estimate your earnings. They're going to withhold that money. Then they're going to have to adjust it the following year when your earnings are reported. It's a hassle and it's a mess. So that is one key thing about an area where full retirement age is a demarcation with the earnings test. There are a few other rules that relate to it, but really the way to think of it is Social Security, the Social Security claiming ages span from age 62 to 70. And okay. I like people to think of 70 as the full retirement age.
I'm with you. After you hit full retirement age, though, you are no longer subject to the earnings test. I just want to be clear on that.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. This is fascinating. You're fascinating. I can't believe all the Social Security knowledge that you are carrying around in your brain. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. If people are interested in learning more, where can they find more information on you and what you do?
Well, I do work for a firm that trains financial advisors. It's horsesmouth.com. People can always go there and kind of look at the consumer site, the public site. I would just say you can always go to the Social Security website. There is a ton of material on the Social Security website, and it's all there. It's not always, reader friendly, and it doesn't always combine the things that we were talking about here today. But mainly, find a financial advisor who can help you with Social Security. That's my main piece of advice.
Thank you so much, Elaine, for joining me. Thank you for all your questions. This was fantastic. For more information, of course, you can check out our website at protectedincome.org, and I will see you all next time around. Bye.